Hey, good morning. Today is Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2024. The time now is 11:56 a.m. I want to begin the series on the Middle East, and I am beginning this series with the current tension, the escalation of tension between uh, Israel and Iran. Basically, that is the result of a recent strike which happened on Monday. Okay, Israeli airstrike on the consulate of Iran in Damascus, Syria. But before I begin, let me stress two things. One, I want to stress my sympathy for the people of Taiwan that basically we had in recent news this morning that there has been a very strong earthquake in Taiwan, and it is said that the earthquake is the strongest earthquake in 25 years, and that nine people so far has died with about 70 or so people trapped. Now, I've seen accounts on various news outlets, but as of what I'm looking at now is from the Associated Press. So tomorrow I'm going to make an update, okay, on the situation in Taiwan, and I do have interesting questions to ask, especially relating to the geopolitics. And from what I'm looking at, yes, it is a serious event. It's an earthquake, but thank God the epic center of the earthquake is not Taipei. But there is a geopolitical perspective that needs to be put forth pertaining to the situation in Taiwan. Now, I want to stress the second thing, which is that I am not an expert, as I've said many times. I am an African with perspective on international relations, perspectives on the various topics, issues, or events relating to our global community. But also, I will stress that I am not an expert on international law, dealing with the fact that what I am going to be talking about in this program, or in this video, if you will, has a strong implication or a strong base on international law. So thank you very much for watching the Echoing Voice again. Now, there has been recent news, an accusation by Iran, Tehran, Iran, that Israel attacked or strike its consulate in Damascus, Syria. Now, looking at the various sources, they all have stressed that Israel has not claimed responsibility for the strike, and also has not denied responsibility. And this is noted that it is Israel's, it's what Israel does often, that it never accept responsibility or deny responsibility. So I have to stress this. But I have consulted various sources. Okay, I've looked at most especially five sources. I focus on five sources. One being RT, okay, Russia Today news outlet. Now, the article that I consulted, or the headline news that I consulted on the RT website, the article titled reads, Top Iranian General Killed in Israeli Strike. What we know so far. That's from RT Russia Today. And then I did consulted BBC. The article that I basically review on the BBC, the title reads, Iran accuses Israel of killing generals in Syria strike. And I consulted as well the Washington Post. And the Washington Post article reads, Israeli strike on Iranian consulate in Damascus kills key commander, Iran says. I consulted as well the Times of India. And the Times of India's article reads, Iran says U.S. must answer for Israeli strike in Syria, which killed 3 top generals. And I also consulted Tehran Times. So this is the apparently the Iranian news outlet. And its article reads, Iran will make evil Israel regret embassy strike in Syria. So these articles are much more interesting reading them. I am seeing tough words in the first one, the RT article. And it states so far that the Russians and others, Russia, Iran, and others, they basically made condemnation, official condemnation of Israel for the strike. I want to start reading a couple of parts in the articles that I feel are very important, significant, or interesting. And then I will stress my perspective. But before I do that, let me first ask a question. The first question is, why did Israel attack the consulate? If it's indeed true that Israel did it, what was Israel hoping to achieve? What was the motive? What was Israel hoping to achieve? And also, did the Israeli military leadership thoroughly consider the implication, the short and long-term consequence of the strike? Also, I want to stress, doesn't the consulate or embassy or whatsoever, not just the personnel that are representing their government, but doesn't the consulate or the embassy entitled to diplomatic immunity? Now, diplomatic or consular immunity is a phrase or a concept or an idea that is very interesting, because I've been trying to consult some sources where for diplomatic immunity, it is pertaining mostly to the individual, to the ambassador and various levels of representative of a country within another country, okay, in terms of their rights to not be prosecuted for various crimes or violation within the country where they are serving their own country. But then I will ask, does diplomatic or consular immunity expand or extends to an attack, basically, I mean to the peace of a facility, in this case an embassy or a consulate? Now, let me look through the parts of the articles where I highlight. For the first article, which is an RT article, once again, the title reads, Top Iranian General Killed in Israeli Strike. What we know so far. I'm going to read the highlighted part, which is basically 2 sentences. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has vowed that the attack will not go unanswered. In a statement on Tuesday, he called it a cowardly crime and an act of terrorism, as well as a clear violation of international relations. Continue. Foreign Ministry spokesman Nasser Kanani has urged the United Nations and the international community to condemn the strike on a protected building. Iran reserves the right to punish the aggressor as it sees fit. He won. Now, couple of things. These two lines are loaded lines. Now, the lines seem professional. It seems diplomatic in that there are ways diplomats speak, the way they use their words and the words that they choose to use. So in this case, you can tell that this is a statement coming from a diplomatic outlet. But I'm going to ask then, it states that it is a clear violation of international regulation. International regulation, in what way? Now, I do not know international law. I'm not an expert in international law. But does this pertain to the idea that buildings such as the consulate, diplomatic buildings, must be protected at all costs, not only from the persecution of the country, the legal system of the country in which they are conducting their businesses for their countries, but also from any attack of an outside country? I tried to consult a source about that. I have not seen any. And in this case, it's a long stretch. The second part, you've seen some words that are being used here. One is that Israel is being referred to as an aggressor. But then in the statement which the president of Iran made, he stressed that the aggressors will be punished. If you're going to punish Israel, in what way? How are you going to punish Israel? And what would the end result of that punishment be? So this is the article from RT. And in it, basically, it stressed that an Israeli F-35 fighter jet basically struck the facility, the consular facility, which resulted in the death of the general, the top general of Iran, by the name of Mohammed Reza Zahedi. Okay, Mohammed Reza Zahedi. Basically, he died. He's, I think, his one of his associate, who was also a general, and other people. So about 7 people died as a result of the strike. So in this case, many are condemning Israel. Many governments are condemning Israel, but Israel itself has not claimed responsibility or denied the allegation that it attacked the Iranian consulate. Now, for the second article, the BBC article, the title reads, Iran accuses Israel of killing generals in Syria strike. I'm going to read the parts of the article which I highlighted. It reads, the Israelis appear to be testing the resolve of the Iranian and their allies and signaling that they are serious about increasing pressure on their enemies. The Israelis are looking at the fact that both Iran and Hezbollah have not been pushing as hard as some might expect. Now they will see if Iran and Hezbollah are going to push back. There will be a response, but it may not be the one people expect. Rather than missile, it may be some sort of cyber attack. I find this part of the article very interesting, but I won't say suspicious, but it is serious. To me, it reads as a wishful thinking, as praising the attack and hoping that the Iranian or Hezbollah respond. Okay? It appears, or it feels to me like it is an attempt to, what they say, pour fuel on the flame or whatever. But if, as it is mentioned in the article, if the Israeli If the Israelis were doing this, if they made the strike as a means to put pressure on Iran and Hezbollah to see what they're gonna do, why do it? This feels like a game. It feels like a game. Why play such a game, which in itself would spell unrest for Israel, for Iran, and for the region? This is unnecessary. And secondly, it is stressed in the article that Iran's retaliation may not come in the form of a military or a physical attack. It could come in the form of a cyber attack. I don't know what to make of this part of the article, but again, it is stressed, I believe, if I remember, in this article as well, that Israel has not accept responsibility or deny responsibility for the strike. So this is a Washington Post article. The title for the article reads, Israeli strike on Iranian consulate in Damascus kills key commander, Iran says. I'm going to continue. Iran reserves its legitimate and inherent right under international law and the United Nations charters to take a decisive response to such reprehensive acts. Zahra Arshadi, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations, wrote late Monday in a letter to the United Nations Secretary General. So already the United Nations is convening meeting basically to try to lessen the tension that is increasing between Iran and Israel. I'm going to continue. Israel's military, which typically does not confirm strikes in Syria, declined to comment. Israel has carried out strikes in Syria against Iran and its allies for years, and throughout its 6 month military campaign against Hamas in Gaza. But Monday's attack stood out both because of its location in a diplomatic compound, traditionally exempt from hostilities, and because of the seniority of the apparent target. Zahedi was identified as the head of Iran's Quds Force in Lebanon in a 2010 Treasury Department sanctioned announcement that accused him of playing a key role in Iran's support to Hezbollah. He acted as a liaison between the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah and Syrian intelligence and was charged with guaranteeing weapon shipment, according to the Justice Department statement. Continued. In a statement, Hezbollah eulogized Zahedi as an exemplary sacrificer in his love for the resistance in Lebanon and the region, and warned that this crime will not pass without the enemy receiving punishment and revenge. So this is the part that I basically highlighted to read from the Washington Post. So given that both countries are engaging in war, it does make sense if Israel is trying to, quote unquote, kill its enemy. Okay? I'm not at war with nobody, and I'm not justifying the strike against the compound, which killed Zahedi. But in terms of countries and groups out there, that ability to justify attack against one another, it does make sense. However, given the location and the facility that was attacked, a diplomatic facility, it's a very serious issue, a very serious subject. And it does make sense as well that the United Nations is convening an emergency meeting to basically alleviate the situation. Now, the next article is an article from the Times of India. And the article Its title reads, Iran says U.S. must answer for Israeli strike in Syria, which killed three top generals. That's a loaded title or statement. First of all, when I came across this article, when I read the article's title, which reads once again, Iran says U.S. must answer for Israeli strike in Syria, which killed three top generals. And I ask myself, answer for what? Is it the United States' fault? Did the United States order the strike? Now, there are many who will say the U.S. and Israel are allies and whatever. However, again, it basically emphasized the whole idea of ego. I stated in one of my videos about the TikTok ban, and I stated that it is ego issue for the United States to demand that a foreign social media platform be sold to an American institution or risk being banned from the American market. Basically, demanding that TikTok separates from China, which again I believe will never happen because in international relations, it's going to mean a win for the United States and a lose for China. But just the statement that the United States must answer, okay, it's a loaded statement. It's one of those talk tough diplomatic moment. Yet again, in one of the articles, it states that Israel basically tipped off the United States, okay, just before it carried out the strike against Iran's consulate facility. So in that case, you can say, okay, the U.S. should have stopped it, but also it is said that even though Israel tipped off the United States, it did not specify which facility, okay, it was going to strike on or strike against. But given the diplomatic misinformation or information warfare between or among Iran, Israel, and the United States and the West, it kind of makes sense. Now, I'm going to continue with this article. It is an article from the Times of India. And the article title reads, Iran says U.S. must answer for Israeli strike in Syria, which killed three top generals. For the parts of the article which I highlighted, I'm going to read. Iran's foreign minister, Hossein Amir Abdullahian, said in an earlier post on X, that's formerly Twitter, that Iran had summoned the Swiss ambassador after midnight local time and asked that an important message be delivered to Washington. That, as Israel's ally, the United States must answer for Israel's action. Switzerland acts as the U.S. representative in the absence of diplomatic relations between Tehran and Washington. The spokesman for the leadership of Iran's parliament, Saeed Nizamuddin Mousavi, told Iran's state media that, quote, an appropriate response is a national request by the people of Iran, unquote. And I'm going to continue. In Washington, a spokeswoman for the National Security Council said that the U.S. had no involvement in the strike and did not know about it ahead of time. A U.S. official said a statement had been communicated directly to Tehran or to Iran. Sorry. So that's the article. And then the next article, which I consulted, is from Iran. So the article is from the Tehran Times. Okay? I guess the slogan is straight truth. Now, one thing that I'm going to be doing in the near future is consulting news outlets, newspapers from the various countries which I'm going to be discussing in my videos or in my program, instead of relying on the West, because Western media outlets provide information or disseminate information from a Western point of view. So I need to present a point of view of the other countries or the other region from their media outlets or media platforms. So in this case, this is kind of like a headline for some reason. I did not get that much from this. It's kind of like one, two, three, four, five, six sentences or whatever, basically line paragraphs. And again, this article or headline is from the Tehran Times. Okay? And the title reads, Iran will make evil Israel regret embassy attack in Syria. Leader. Tehran. Leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Saeed Ali Khamenei, says brave Iranian men will, quote, punish, unquote, Israel and make the evil regime regret, in a quotation, its crime of assassinating the country's military advisor in Syria. I am going to continue. Ayatollah Khamenei made the announcement in a message on Tuesday, a day after Israeli airstrike destroyed Iran's consulate building in Damascus and killed 7 military advisors of the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps, IRGC. The leader said Brigadier General Mohammad Reza Zahedi, a commander of the IRGC Quds Force, and his Deputy General Mohammad Haji Rahimi were murdered in this crime perpetrated by the, quote, usurping and despicable, unquote, Zionist regime. The evil regime will be punished by our brave men. We will make them regret the crimes and other ones by God's will. The leader added, noting that Iranians are contending with the heavy grief of the IRGC advisors' martyrdom. The leader wished divine mercy for the victims of the terrorist attack and censored the leader of the oppressive and aggressive Israeli regime. Israeli warplanes bombed the Iranian consulate situated next to the embassy building in Damascus's Meza district on Monday afternoon. So I find this headline or article to be very interesting. It doesn't give that much, but one thing that I want to stress is that it makes or present a very serious threat. And I think this is one of the reasons why the United Nations is convening an emergency meeting. And many advisors, many observers, many experts in international relations, in the Middle Eastern affairs, and so on, are very much worried because it is saying that Iranian men will punish Israel. Okay? Iranian men will punish Israel and will make the quote unquote evil regime regret. The question then, how is it that Iran will punish Israel? In what manner will Iran punish Israel or punishes Israel? How far will Iran go with the punishment? Okay? And what does Iran envision to be the outcome of the punishment of Israel? Because this is a very serious threat in this article. Yes, it doesn't say anything about military attack against Israel. It doesn't say anything about the possibility of a cyber attack against Israel, as one of the article which I read stressed. I think it's the BBC article. However, when you're making statements such as punishment, regret, and brave men. Put the word together, brave men. Brave men, not the Iranian people, but brave men. Brave men in this case, I think is, I don't know if metaphor is the right word, but brave men is a substitution for military. And the fact that brave men will make the quote unquote evil doers, okay, regret. How is it that brave men will make the evil doers regret? It has to be through military intervention or through military action. So, what this is saying is Iran may not declare war, and I do believe they are not going to declare war because the truth is, countries come in public and say a bunch of things, okay? Accuse and criticize one another, okay, or each other in the public. But behind closed doors, they are working to alleviate their situation, to basically lessen their tension so that it doesn't go into all-out war. Now, we are at the point where even Saudi Arabia is condemning or criticizing Israel. So that's a serious thing because Saudi Arabia and others in the Islamic world had normalized relations with Israel. So with this, they are condemning Israel. And the reason they are doing this, they are basing it solely on the fact that Israel launched a strike on the diplomatic facility of Iran. It's a serious issue for anybody. You do not attack a diplomatic facility. So, but the fact that it is saying that brave men, that means brave men are going to come forth for military service. Brave men are going to punish evil. Brave men are going to punish the evil Israel, make them regret. How are brave men going to do that? Under whose command? Under God's command. They are going to punish Israel by God's will. It's a very serious threat being made. Now, I want to conclude by first summarizing what the situation is about, summarizing the situation, and then pose my questions again and tie the questions and the reality of what is at stake to the general global community. Now, Israel on Monday, okay, carried out a strike against the Iranian consulate in Syria, in Damascus, Syria. And the strike killed 7 people, and 3 of them are top general in the Iranian military. Now, Israel has not officially claimed responsibility or deny the situation, the attack. But there has been condemnation from Russia to Saudi Arabia to Iran, and the Iranian ambassador to the United Nations has even asked the United Nations to condemn what Israel did. But my question is, when you attack a facility such as a consulate, an embassy, what are you hoping to accomplish? Shouldn't an embassy or a consulate be off topic? Should it be off target? Shouldn't that be the case? So the question again, why attack, okay? Why strike a diplomatic compound? And shouldn't such compound be immune to attack, to any form of aggression by any country, whether by the country in which the consulate or the embassy lies, or by an outside entity? Also, if Israel actually carried out the strike, the attack, whether they accepted responsibility or not, what was Israel hoping to accomplish? Okay? And did Israeli leader actually think or actually consider all of the possibility resulting from the strike? That is a question that I do think is relevant to ask. Now, in international relations, okay, the manner in which diplomacy or the interaction among countries is practiced today, it's like, what is it, tit for tat or whatever, however they say it. It's kind of like a game. So my thing is, it appears as if countries are playing games, and this game could lead to mass loss of life, could lead to the increase in human suffering and destruction. Now, in one of the article, Israel accuses Iran of not only manufacturing the UAV, okay, but also was directing the UAV, which was used to attack in Israel. So the question for that then is, let's say yes, Iran made the UAV, but what is the evidence? What does Israel has to prove that Iran actually was directing the UAV? But also for any country, whether Iran, whether Israel, whether Russia, whether Ukraine, whether the United States or Turkey or whatsoever, is it necessary that we blame? Let's say Iran did not direct the UAV. Is it necessary or smart to blame Iran because its UAV crashed in or it's used to attack in Israel or in any country? And the reason for this is because in the world today, countries are developing massive, sophisticated military industrial complexes, and they are engaging in the sale of arms. So I can make an arm, okay? I can make guns and bombs and planes, okay? Military equipment, and they could end up in heaven or hell or whatsoever or wherever. Am I the one to be blamed? Because there are possibilities that I could manufacture these things and sell it to someone or some country, but then they sell it to another country. So I feel like some form of reality must be acknowledged in terms of how such equipment are manufactured, or the possibility of how they end up in other people's hands out there. Now, the Iranian leaders demand that the United States answer for the attack. I say, why? Can they prove that the United States is responsible for the attack? Can they prove that the United States actually ordered the attack? Okay? So I want to stress that. Once again, what are the motives for Israel to attack the Iranian consulate facility in Damascus? What was Israel hoping, or the Israeli military or whatsoever, hoping to accomplish by carrying out the strike? And also, did the leader consider all of the possibilities? Does killing Mr. Zahedi or General Zahedi, does killing such a top general bear similarity to killing a top political leaders in a country? That's kind of like what I feel. And I do believe, because of the diplomatic or the international reality surrounding the whole idea of embassies and consulate out there, or consular, however you want to say it, it seems as if it is much more serious that the facility was attacked, a diplomatic facility was attacked, and a representative of a country was killed in the attack, than a citizen of a country was attacked, was killed in his own country or in her own country by a foreign entity. In this case, I'm saying that, let's say that General Zahedi was killed in Iran. Okay, Iran. The attack took place in Iran. Yes, it's a declaration of war, okay, because you attacked my citizen in my country. However, because of the diplomatic, the international reality, it seemed as if the attack on the facility is much more serious than attacking the citizen in his own country. It seems to be why even the United Nations is trying to get on the matter as soon as possible. Now, is it necessary to kill the general and other leaders, okay, in the attack? I don't know why the Israelis should do that, okay? If they really want to do that based on the fact that this general was engaging in clandestine activities, they could have done it some other way rather than just attacking the facility, the diplomatic facility. But now, the implication, okay? What does this imply in terms of the global reality? And in this case, I'm talking about Africa. I do believe what Africa needs to do, Africa or the African Union as a collective, must issue a statement. Yes, the event is happening in the Middle East, but that region is right in the face, right in the doorstep of East Africa and Northeast Africa, the Horn of Africa region. A war between Israel and Iran is going to lead to destabilization in North Africa. Okay? That region is African territory. It is Africa's sphere of influence. Therefore, I do believe that African leaders must speak jointly and they must beef up security. They must maintain their sphere of influence. And it is very sad that too many things are happening in the world, and we have a continent of 1.3, 1.4 billion people do not have anything to say, even pertaining to a situation that, when such situation becomes a terrible reality for mankind, Africa is going to be hurt significantly. Yet the continent has nothing to say. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.